You don't have any of the data or the raw footage relative to 4 seasons of docuseries television, yet you've spent hours, countless hours, tackling specific.
If you give me more data, I'll look into it. And if you want a specific case looked at, I'd be happy to do that. I'm interested in the Skinwalker.
But do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying, though?
You saying that I've been selective, I don't have the data.
Sure.
And you give me the data, and I'll look at it.
Okay.
You pick the case. I'll look at this transmedium thing, and we have actually looked at that before. There's been quite a bit of analysis, but it's kind of limited because we didn't have the original video, and we don't have any.
Well, you don't have
data.
You don't have the original video relative to at least a dozen or other events, but you've taken a stab at those, correct?
Sure, but it's a kind of a cutoff point, and so how much data
do you see? Do you see why? Do you see? And again, this is a fun, fluid discussion and debate, but I guess I'm trying to make my point here that it's selective. That I see people that are willing to cherry pick specific events.
We looked at both cases, though. We looked at this little flying insect thing with the flapping wings, and that was pretty obvious because we could see from the video that was released on YouTube.
Sure, totally legit.
That there was enough data there. We've also at Metabunk, we've also looked at the transmedium thing. I can't find the link right now, but there is a thread on it somewhere on Metabunk where we tried to analyze it. We did some kind of 3D analysis to try to figure out where it might be. I did a bunch of stuff in Google Earth, looking at it, trying to track it down. Ultimately, we couldn't figure out exactly where it was. The video wasn't very high resolution, and we wanted to get more data. So
and you know what? In fairness,
available data there.
Yeah, in fairness, you're right. I need to go get the raw video file, the raw footage with the metadata associated with that footage, everything intact and raw, and put it out there on our server for people to dissect, for them to take a crack at. So, and I will say to our defense, I mean, we do try. It's not a perfect process, but we do try to engage third-party experts, credentialed professionals that are subject matter experts in each experiment and exercise that we're going through. And forgive me, but I typically turn to those experts as the ones that I'm looking to. I don't turn to the community. I'm not someone who has an agenda, who is obviously making a living and their credibility is tied to debunking phenomena isn't necessarily. And you're not alone. I mean, I have any number of journalists they call themselves investigative journalists that engage, but I always find it quite humorous because they're very selective and they cherry pick those facets, those components of the narrative that they're reporting on, and they completely dismiss anything that would undermine their narrative that has credibility. And I find it's very suspect. It's just as suspect and concerning to me as the idiots, as the people who are.
You pick the cherry here, and I'll look at the cherry.
All right, fair enough.
If you want to do like the transmedium stuff, that's great. If you want to do the GPS stuff, that would be good as well. I know there's lots of very raw data that we can look at with GPS.
There's an abundance. Yeah, we have an abundance.
I'm very good at analyzing data. It's not like I'm just some newbie on a couch. I've been doing this type of thing for decades. I'm looking at data at the byte level, figuring out what's going on in 3 dimensions. This is what I do. So if you could get that,
I appreciate it.
I could look at that.
Very good. Well, thanks for sounding off, and I appreciate the
thank you,
the spirit.
Thank you.
Appreciate the spirited dialogue.